Good morning and welcome to the Lakers Fast Break Spotlight on Lakerholics weekend. It's been a long time since I said that, and I'm surprised I got it all out on my first try. I give myself a pat back for that one. With me is Michael H. and Laker Tom, the people who used to help run Lakerholics.com. You go to Lakerholics.com, that website no longer exists. You can find Laker Tom as Laker Tom on Twitter. I'll let you talk about all the places you can find yourself here in a second, Laker Tom. But the website is due to the wonderful modern world of Google and widgets and network bullshit. It's gone. Get over it. Move on. Here we go. Tom, where can they find you?
You can find me on X, or you can find me on Medium. We've sort of, because the amount of attention that we're getting on is a big difference. For example, on X, I can get 10,000 to 150,000 impressions on one post, and the number of that we were getting on Lakerholics was so small. So we basically transferred it to a phone thread. And it's been working pretty well. We've taken the old phone thread that used to be Jamie and I and Michael, and then they've expanded it, and there have been certain people on there. So if anybody's previously a Lakerholics fan is interested in joining our live group chat, you can email me your phone number and your name to thomas.h.wong@gmail.com. And I'll put you on. We'll add you to the phone group chat. It's actually a great group chat, and I find that it's the difference between being on a computer and on a phone, and the difference between a phone blog and an email or a website blog that you've got to do. That the thing is binging all day long, and it's just with a dozen people on it at this point in time. So I'd be anybody else who's been a regular contributor or visitor to Lakerholics.com, please accept this invitation to join us on the Lakerholics group chat.
And that's that. That's the last we're going to talk about it today. All right, so a lot has happened since the last time we had a show.
Really?
When was our last show, and where were we at that point?
I think we've just gotten bounced. It's been like a week or so since we've gotten bounced from the playoffs. I don't think New York had won it all yet. I don't think we did a show, but our show stopped before the NBA Finals ended. Somewhere in there, the Lakers got bounced.
So we haven't talked at all about the changes that have been made and what people think of them.
No, we haven't.
We have in the group chat. We've driven it into the ground in a group chat.
So let's start by congratulating the New York Knicks.
Yay, New York.
Well done. You deserve that title. It was a hard-fought, hard-earned title, and you deserve every parade, every free drink in the 5 boroughs, every free slice after 2 a.m. All the flowers, man.
A lot of guys had career series there, man.
It was such a great run to watch. It was such an inspiring run of basketball to watch. Like, such great teamwork, such great battles. It was great.
A couple of former Laker guys got a ring too.
A lot of former Laker, more than one. Jordan Clarkson, Josh Hart. I mean, yeah, it was great. It was so great to see Josh Hart and Jordan Clarkson win a ring, and even guys like Mitchell Robinson, who I kind of hoped would end up on the Lakers, but it didn't work out. All right, the other monumental thing that happened is Mark Walters getting investigated by the FBI. No, I'm just kidding. The other monumental thing that happened is LeBron James deciding to choose another team. And the NBA should really thank LeBron James because he took a lot of heat off of them for the first, 6 weeks of summer. Everything was LeBron James again for the first time in 4 or 5 years. And that was fun for all of us. And for him, I'm assuming.
I have a theory about that. I think he knew within a few days where he was going to go, but he just likes the attention.
David Stern was probably like, listen, we don't want anybody to hear about Daktronics. We don't want anybody to talk about the investigation. Can you just have this drag out for like a month or so? And Anyway, we'll get to Kawhi Leonard and all that maybe at the end. It's a sad affair. It's not going to go well for anybody. I don't think. It looks worse and worse by the day. Every time something new comes out, it doesn't seem like it's trending in a great direction for the Clippers and Kawhi Leonard. It's actually the opposite. Well, let's start with LeBron James. I'd like to thank LeBron James. Thank you, LeBron, for the title back in 2020 and for honestly turning the Lakers around. You can't argue that before he came to the Lakers, this was a ship adrift.
We were in bad shape, and anybody who thinks that LeBron doesn't deserve a statue out in front for redeeming the Lakers brand is crazy, because the guy's been nothing but as good a player as you could ever hope to be, the face of the franchise.
You know, all the critics are saying, well, he only won one ring.
Yeah.
But nobody's won back-to-back for the last 8 years. It's a new every single year.
You could argue that we could have done better if we had really just kept the championship team together and tried to
No kidding.
That's not LeBron's fault. That's not LeBron's fault. That's Rob's fault.
I blame Rob for his lack of yeah, I agree with King Core. I think definitely jersey retired. Statue probably would have required 2 rings, but we'll see. You know, Lakers love to put a statue up, so we'll see.
They're not going to insult.
Will's only won one ring.
Anyway, he's definitely getting his jersey up in at least 3 arenas. 4 if he wins the title in Philly, which is crazy. And that would electrify that fan base, and that would be great for that city as well. Because the last time Philly won a title was a little sooner than the Knicks, but it was in 84, 83, 83.
Well, we finally come full circle where we're seeing names that, you know, were the faces of franchise being moved left and right. And the young guys now taking over and everybody wanting to get younger. The Lakers went from the 8th oldest team to the 8th youngest team. That's pretty remarkable, you know, and it does seem like, I mean, it's probably been 5 years that I've been preaching that a change is coming, you know, and every year it's LeBron defies gravity and father time, and these other guys keep getting big contracts, but it's changing, man. It's changing fast.
And Michael, would you agree that he's found a fantastic situation for his last season or two at Philly? I mean, let's just assume that Embiid is only going to play in 60% or so of the games. That's still a fantastic situation for LeBron to wind it down in. Would you agree?
Yeah, but you really think that Embiid's going to play 60 games?
Over the next 2 years? Yes.
Over the next 2 years. Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe
2
over
years.
the next 2 years.
30% is a year.
Yeah, how this year goes will affect how next year goes for LeBron. He could very well call it a year after that. Call it a career.
We'll see. You know, I mean, it's a great team. They're going to be favored in the East for sure. You know, I mean, although it's a new team, so you never know what's going to happen with the new team.
Right.
You know, so
that's a bad combination. You know, that's a bad combination being like the senior team, except for VJ. Everybody is old.
Maxi's not.
The league that is
Maxi's not old. Jalen's an old young guy. He's not old though. He's
not even 30 yet.
He's 29, right? He's still young. He's a young guy. So I was going to say, just between Maxey, Edgecombe, and Brown, that's a stellar big 3 right there. And you can really just tell the other 2 guys, like, go back-to-backs, 20, 25 a game. Let's not run around too much. Let's chill out for the first half of the season. Let's work our way into shit, you know? And Nick Nurse is smart. He's been all the way. He's a great coach for him.
They'd actually be better if they could somehow have a minor injury for Embiid and keep him, you know, have him play 40.
I would say that the best thing they could
40 games and be healthy for the playoffs.
They just need the backup center to play the majority of the minutes up until February.
Yeah.
He should be on a 20 minutes a night restriction until February.
So where do you have him ranked in top 10?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, listen. The one thing we could say with certainty, the NBA is wide open. It's anybody's game. Every year it feels like there's no dynasties. Every time we try to say, like, oh, look at this blueprint for success, another team comes along with a
You
different
just don't know
style.
what the injuries are going to do to the whole league. Every year
Well,
that's a big killer.
Would you say that injuries prevented OKC from winning?
No, but
Well,
I mean,
they sure made it a lot easier.
Well, Williams was out for the
whole playoffs, basically.
Well, they're the one team that they're the team that probably more than anybody else because of their depth and their.
I would argue the team that was affected
because
most
of
by
what
it
their
was
depth
ours.
used to be, Tom. They traded away their depth because of the
They
salary
traded
cap.
this year because they wanted to be able to pay the depth that they wanted to keep. They chose the depth they wanted to keep, and they have draft picks to keep building depth up, which is
I was kind of disappointed that they traded everybody to the East Coast.
That's by design.
Obviously by design.
That's right there.
Because that's almost better than the buyout market, man. Is the guys that they got to move on from in OKC,
and you got to pick for it.
That's a whole stream of talent that.
And they don't shy away from second rounders. They're like 2 second rounders. That's fine.
No, there was a post on X that from their general manager that I actually reposted because it was so spot on about how you build a franchise, and they talk about what they do is repeat their process every year. They don't.
There's a comment in the chat. I want each of us to get a chance to address this, and I think it's worth mentioning. I talk about this a lot. It's my favorite thing to talk about, other than actual basketball, is the idea that players should take a pay cut when they are performing at a high level in order to compete. And you could look at somebody like Jalen Brunson or Victor Wembanyama and point to that and say, look, it works. And I won't disagree. I won't disagree that they have a choice that they can make. But to say that the choice should always be, without any consideration for anything at all, that you should take a pay cut, I think is not fair to the players. And to say that that choice means that you shouldn't trust, or that you should have to trust your GM, I think is the other thing. I think that if LeBron had taken a pay cut, I don't know that Rob would have put the right players around him. Just on the cavalcade of players we've sent out.
Well, it's a different situation because Wembanyama could look at the guys that he's taking that pay cut for and know that he didn't have that worry that Rob had. They doesn't have a Rob to screw it up.
He's played with Castle. He's played with all those. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, why not, man?
But the Lakers weren't going to pay Rui Hachimura. The Lakers weren't going to pay fill-in-the-blank role player who we traded a first-round pick or 3 or 4 second-rounders for and then let walk after 2 months with nothing in return 5 times out of the last
Lakers were going to get younger no matter what.
They
were going to get younger. You had to be young and you had to shoot threes. And you had to play some defense.
King Cora specifically. King Cora, I would say no. I don't think Laker fans should be upset that he took a pay cut with the 76ers and not LA. There were reasons that happened. One, he could have gotten paid whatever he wanted in LA. He talked to Rob Pelinka and been like, I'll stay. You get all your business done. We have his bird rights. We could go over the cap to sign him. The only thing we couldn't have traded, or the only thing we couldn't have done was send out draft picks in the Walker Kessler trade. That hard capped us at the first apron, Michael, or the second apron?
At the first apron.
At the first apron, which meant you can't go over it. You're done. That's it. You're hard capped. You've chosen to limit yourselves. It's one of the reasons I was not a fan.
It's only one $11 million player is the difference between the hard.
Well, of course, the difference between like 3 guys and going into the second apron to sign Reeves.
Right.
We chose not to go into the second apron. We chose not to use our billionaire resources that we all talked endlessly about. Oh, when we finally have billionaire resources, we could be the team we dreamed to be. And then, oh, but wait, no, we're not.
We'll still use them when we can, but we needed the sign and trade, man.
Yeah, we needed a center.
I agree we needed a center. I would have not thrown the draft picks in as a first option. I would have.
There's no other option. The reason that we have done nothing for the last 3 years is because Rob Pelinka can't close a deal because he won't do a deal unless he wins the deal. It doesn't matter whether it's the right player or not. It's a fucking deal. It's all that counts.
Do you think Ainge would have matched a max offer?
I do.
You do.
He would have traded. He would have maxed it and then traded him.
Michael, you feel the same?
Probably would have and then traded him.
Right.
Just like what's going to happen.
We could make that gamble because he was really the only guy who fit what we needed right now.
All right, that's fair. I'm not so sure. I would have preferred. we have so few assets. The Lakers are an asset deficient team, and so to see them all basically in that moment go away for one guy.
That was something you had to do. The bigger question, frankly, right now is: do we keep these assets that we have for the trade deadline, or do we use them on sign and trade for Kuminga and other ways? I mean, that's a tough decision because you don't want to go into the trade deadline with a brand new team and no assets to make moves.
Right. Well, you know what? I think the biggest thing is the expectation that the Lakers can build a contender in one season, one summer. I don't think we I'm personally against Kuminga because he's unproven.
Yeah.
You know, and
it's not unproven. It's there's a little bit on the other side of the baggage thing that is bothersome.
I mean, well, you look at our experiment last year with Ayton. You can kind of see the same thing in Kuminga that you can see in Ayton.
Not a team guy.
Not a team guy. He wants his numbers.
Yeah.
He wants his numbers. He wants his numbers and his money and his glory.
And he doesn't. And his way he rebels is by not playing and not playing hard. Yeah. You know,
personally,
I ignore you.
Yeah. Personally, I think we should go in with what we got. See what
I wouldn't be.
Well,
I
we're gonna have to cut one guy because somebody's got to go.
We still need to add. We still need to add another big. But we have to keep at least. You have to keep at least all 3 seconds or the swap. One of those two.
I think we're going to roll in as is, and we're going to have to cut one of Connect, Bronny, or Vando. And I expect it'll be Connect. I have a hard time.
Well, if they're going to cut somebody and they have to eat money for it.
Well, Connect.
If they can't find somebody to take Vando's fucking contract, man, they're going to wave and stretch the sucker.
No. Connect is basically on an expiring deal. Because next year's deal is not guaranteed.
Hardy we could trade, but the problem is they want to get rid of Vando.
Yeah, but Vando's hard to get rid of, and you don't want. That's $5 million. That's $5 million on the cap for 5 years, dead money.
Yeah, next year we'll go over the second apron, so we'll go over the first apron, use the second apron, and that's another $11 million.
Yeah,
and we're set up.
Now the thing about Vando, you might be able to trade him. At the trade deadline,
you can rehabilitate Vando's. You can rehabilitate Vando in the right situation.
Not with JJ Redick. You're not going to play him, man.
He'll play him as the game because there's not going to be a great defensive option behind him. There's not a lot of good.
And the thing about it is the reason they don't have LeBron anymore at the 4. They don't have Rui there at the 4 anymore.
Yeah,
Mamu is more of a 5. So, you know, he'll probably get minutes at the 4.
I won't be surprised if it's Connect. My guess is Connect because he doesn't play defense.
Well, you don't get stuck with dead money with him because
he's 27%
for 1 year wipeout.
It's so terrible.
But it's still $4 million, you know. They need a 2-for-1 trade. They basically need a 2-for-1 trade.
I don't see that without using up what they got left in assets.
You could see. There's still some unsigned guys. It's interesting to me that Harden hasn't signed with Cleveland. I'm wondering if they were waiting for his court case to resolve. He just got the possession case dismissed yesterday. That seems a little weird to me because it's 2 totally separate things. The LeBron situation is clearly done. I don't know what they're waiting for. I guess is that's the only one that's curious to me. I can understand
everybody's waiting for Kuminga right now, which is ridiculous because he's not worth waiting for, in my opinion.
You think they're waiting for Kuminga?
I think Kuminga's holding up a lot of stuff now.
I find that funny because he doesn't impact winning very much. Like, all right, take the qualifier with Atlanta, 7.5.
Well, they're waiting because the reality is that the market is telling them nobody's going to pay you more than the MLE.
No, I mean
he wants more than the MLE, and teams are saying we'll pay you the taxpayer MLE $6 million.
Yeah, the Duran situation, I think, is coming down to. I think Duran is going through the same thing. Somebody's asking about Jalen Duran in the chat. So I think the Jalen Duran situation this season
might take
is
the
very
qualifying
similar to
offer.
Jonathan Kuminga season last year, when Kuminga waited until when did he sign? Like October, November, September, somewhere. Like it was late in the summer.
Yeah, during right around training camp, I think.
It's like weeks before training camp started. A week before training camp started. It was very, very, very close to when training camp started. And so I think you're going to see something similar with Duran, where he's like, do I suck? I think he's trying to decide, do I take less than I think I'm worth, or do I play on the qualifying offer and do this again next summer and go for bigger payday?
He doesn't have a qualifying offer. They cut him loose.
Oh, that's right. He's unrestricted.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
so
unrestricted.
then he's just waiting for them to up their offer.
No, it's the minimum, or it's the ML. It's the taxpayer MLE that is the only thing that what's the other?
That's why Cleveland's not signing Harden yet, because they can still use their taxpayer ML.
I see.
And that's also, there was also the Minnesota Timberwolves were interested because they have a taxpayer MLE that they could use too. I mean,
right.
Well, maybe we could slide one of our players into that taxpayer MLE somewhere else and get rid of a guy or two that way in a 3-team trade.
Well, we could trade one player. We were like $8 million under the, so we could trade, connect to somebody, and we would have like $12 million to offer him.
Get $12 million.
He doesn't want, and that's a 3-year contract though.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd love that because that gives you a lot of wiggle room at the trade deadline to be a little bit of a mover and a shaker, which I expect us to be. Hopefully, if we're in contention, we have needs.
I don't know. I think it'd be better off to trade add Hardy to that situation. So you've got 10 plus the 8. You could get up to 18, so you can get a guy who's a MLE quality player. Hopefully, the problem is that you have to do it with a team that will take those contracts, because that's the big problem.
Another thing to think about.
Everybody wants draft picks to take anybody we got. Anybody we're going to get rid of, they want at least a second round pick.
Another thing to think about that I've been reading about and makes sense is like, you don't want to like empty the cupboard. You don't know what this team's going to be like.
No.
Are these guys that we signed? I mean, we've got 4 guys on our. We've got guys with 4-year contracts now.
We'll get to the whole new Laker team here in about 2 minutes.
And hopefully they all come through for us. But
that never happens. That never happens.
Never happens.
So you got to leave a little ammo. That's why I'm thinking. I just
got to leave at least the swap or the 3 seconds. Because the 3 seconds are basically, they're probably they're a low first round pick.
Well, they're the grease you need to send a player away.
Yeah.
At the trade deadline, if there's a team with cap space.
That's the question. I mean, in some ways, you might be smarter to keep the swap and use the picks, because you can spread the picks around for a couple of things. Whereas the swap's probably more valuable than a second rounder, but the value is always determined by who you're swapping with. You want to swap with OKC, that's not a good deal. If you want to swap with the Clippers or the Kings, for example, I'd do anything to get a swap with the Kings.
So I'm just going to say this to close out the Kuminga thing. Yes, at King Cora, Kuminga is going to regret joining them that 5 years, $150 with OKC. That was $30 million a year guaranteed. That's gone. That deal is not going to be on the table from any team this summer. He's not making $30 million a year. He'll be lucky if he makes $15 million a year at this point.
The agent
fires agent is the same agent as Victor Oladipo. They both should get new agents. Victor's out of the NBA in my opinion, and good luck to him. Maybe he gets a better minimum contract at some point. I kind of doubt it. But Kuminga should fire his agent. That guy is slow, over. I don't know, has an inflated sense of his client's work.
Considering Kuminga's basketball intelligence,
You've had 5 seasons on 2 teams to show that you truly impact winning in some meaningful way.
Yeah.
And he just hasn't done it. That's the for me personally, that's the bottom line. You have not shown me in any meaningful
Not
way.
one of those guys with great talent, but just doesn't have the character.
He's got great athleticism. He doesn't have great talent. He's
great. Yeah, that's better put.
He's a jumper runner. You know, I'm not saying he's a bad player, but there's clearly an issue with putting all of that together in a meaningful way on a basketball court as part of a winning culture for teams that have championship aspirations. And that's all I'm going to say. I mean, and he's got plenty of time to turn that narrative around, and I hope that he does. I think he can start to do that by firing his agent. Just clean slate after this summer. Like, hey, I'm coming at all this new. Like, I gotta change something on my end because what I'm doing clearly isn't working, and that's the recipe.
Yeah, but it's like Aiton. Those guys go. All you had their moments of truth, but they always yeah.
It very well he could end up on that sort of similar, like, I'm really great, I'm really important. Why doesn't anybody want me? Where am I going?
No, I realize now what I have to do to be a championship team player, and I'm going to do it now, and I appreciate it. I'm going to live up to the role. And then
say that,
I didn't get enough shots, or I didn't get enough attentions, or you don't appreciate what I'm doing.
And AD go all the way in the NBA Finals this year, and Aiden plays a huge role, and we're all like, oh, it's not happening. But anyway, it'll be funny if it does. I'll laugh at it anyway.
Okay, so thumbs down, everybody.
All right, the Lakers made a complete overhaul of the roster happen this summer. As was expected, with the number of players that were coming up on being free agents or unrestricted free agents.
You think that was expected?
Well, everybody's contract expired.
Well, no, I know that, but there was a lot of talk about running it back, man.
Yeah, for like 3 days, there was a lot of talk about running it back. But I mean, look at Jake.
Well, I mean, it's a pretty big gamble. It's a pretty big gamble. Listen, if I asked you before, would you trust Rob Pelinka to do this? To turn over the entire roster of a 53-win team that won the first round of the series without their best 2 players?
You're asking the wrong guy, Tom. You're asking the right guy. I still don't trust Pelinka, so you're asking the wrong guy.
I mean, but that's the whole point, that this was a massive gamble.
Grades here. We're going to start with Michael. Let's try not to interrupt over the course of the grades. Let's try to get through it with the meeting with some semblance of organizational savvy and chutzpah. So we're going to start. So let's start with Walker Kessler. Let's just do all of our grades for the free agents. And if I missed one, please let me know. Walker Kessler was the biggest one. Clearly, we don't need to talk about Reeves. We know Reeves. It was happening. The only thing would be bad if he walked for nothing. That would have been a colossal failure on the Lakers' part. You either had to sign him,
and he took a little bit less money.
A little less in the second season.
Very little less.
It
wasn't a Wembanyama.
No, come on. No, it wasn't. No.
$5 million out of it.
In the $5 million in the second season is not a Wembanyama, but that should be a phrase, Tom. I'm going to try to make that happen. Let's all try to make it's not a Wembanyama happen. All right, so it was Walker Kessler, Terry Eason, and I'm going to miss one. I know it. Colin Sexton, Quentin Grimes,
Zaire Williams.
What was that?
Zaire Williams.
That's the one. Those are the 5, right?
Thibault.
That's the other one.
Cameron Carr.
No, that's a rookie.
He's a draft pick. He wasn't free.
No, draft pick second. So those are the 6 players we're talking about. So let's, Michael, you go.
Well, I'm going to give Kessler an A just because he can do what the team needs him to do. He's going to protect the paint. He's going to rebound like crazy. And I'm not that concerned with what they gave up for him, because if we're any good at all, those 2 swaps aren't going to matter. They only matter if you become a really crappy.
They only matter if Utah's a better team than we are.
Yeah. So I give him an A. The other one, I'll give Sexton a B, because we didn't have a go-to scorer off the bench last year. We didn't have anybody that is a walking bucket, and he's a walking bucket, and he's been a walking bucket his entire career. So I thought he was really good. Grimes, I'll give him a B also. maybe a B minus. See, the problem I had with all of these free agent signings is everybody they got, except for Kessler, were role players and bench guys of other teams, Yeah. So that kind of lowers my expectations right there. But Grimes started his career as a really good defender. He kind of lost a little bit of that mojo the last year or two, but if he can regain that, if he can regain that, he's a solid pick. Mamu, I'm not sold on him that much. He played 93 minutes at the center position last year. I mean, 93% of his minutes at the center position last year, and we're going to ask him to be a 4. I don't think he'll start. I think he's going to be coming off the. He'll do some 4, but I think he'll be our first center off the bench. I really do. Thibault A+ if the guy's healthy.
Yeah,
this is a guy that can hit the last 2 years 38% from 3. And
who are you talking about right now?
Thibault.
Oh,
yeah, A+. Two-time All NBA defensive player. If he's healthy, the only reason he was in this situation because he only played like 45 games the last 2 years. They say he's healthy, and if he is, he could be our Marcus Smart. The guy is that good on defense. And I think that was a primo. I think that might have been the best free agent pickup that we got. I mean, we got
minimum contract.
Yeah, on a minimum. And Zaire Williams, you're talking about investing in Kuminga as a developmental guy, has potential. Zaire Williams has potential, and we're getting him for $3 million a year. The guy's as athletic as Kuminga is. He's 6'9". I wouldn't be surprised to see him filling some minutes at the 4 just because of his length. And so I'm going to give that an A as well, just because it's a $3 million contract. I mean, you can,
great upside.
Yeah, great upside. So I think that's 6, isn't it? Did I miss anybody?
We missed Looney.
Oh, Looney, D. Seriously, I mean, he's not the kind of center what this team needs. He's not the kind of center that works well with Luka. He's a good rebounder. He's a really good rebounder, but he's not a lob threat. He's not a rim protector.
All right.
He can give him credit though. He can switch out on the perimeter and switch defense. If he hasn't lost all of his mobility because he was hurt.
Your overall summer grade for the Lakers?
I would say a B.
Okay, Tom. I think that's fair. Tom. Walker Kessler.
I give Kessler an A because he's the player they had to have.
Yeah.
That said everything. I mean, and when people talk about did we go for offense or go for defense, a lot of when you think about what we spent in draft capital and the player that we got in our first pick, our first move, which is Kessler, it's really a strong defensive pick, and it allowed us to then focus on offense for the rest of it. So I give Kessler an A. The other guy I give an A to is Mamu. I think that he's a dynamic player, a 4-5, and if we could pair him with another 4-5 that was really good, then we might be able to have a 3-man front court that basically ran all of the minutes for power forward and center. And the thing about him is that he is the upgrade in my mind over Hachimura. He's a guy who's going to take a lot more threes. He shot more threes in only 21.4 minutes per game than Rui did.
Yeah, but Tom, one thing, you always do that.
Michael, I know you love Rui. I know you love Rui. You love Rui too. Let's not make this an argument about Rui.
No, I agree. I would like to get into that. We will get into that. Let Tom give his grade, and then we'll get into that.
Michael, I understand that. Okay. So the thing I like about Mamu is that he is the lob threat and the 3-point threat. He can space vertically and horizontally. He's probably best playing with Kessler simply because you get some defensive
Everybody's
goals there to cover your poor defense.
asking a lot of Walker Kessler.
So, you have to see. The other guys, who's next on the list?
All right, we had Walker Kessler. We had Mamu, Grimes.
Oh, Grimes. Well, Grimes is a guy who the problem that the Lakers faced in building out this roster is when you have a front court of Luka and Austin and you've got your center Kessler, your forwards really, you don't have freedom with your forwards because your forwards are the ones that have got to fit those guards in that center. And so the problem is that your small forward basically has to guard who Luka should be guarding. And Luka's going to guard the weakest forward on the other team, which means that your other forward, besides Grimes, has to be an elite defender. So Grimes is basically going to be playing the Marcus Smart role, but I agree, and I give him a B for that, but I agree that with Michael that the guy who should end up getting that role in the end is Thibault, because he's the elite defender, and he's the guy who really could be the Marcus Smart. So I give Thibault an A also.
Zaire Williams.
It's interesting. The discussion about what if we didn't do anything? We went with the guys we got. It's interesting because if you look at Iztok Franco's depth chart for the Lakers, and he introduced this on a podcast along with the guy with a couple of other guys. It was really a great podcast, and all three of them basically agreed that Williams basically could be the starter because he's the best defender at the power forward position, and he can also play center. He played half his minutes at both spots, so he could give you a Twin Towers look and be the guy who could be a defender. Then you would have Mamu backing up both of those two guys. And those all three guys, I'm trying to think of what's the guy from Lakers Nation who does a show.
No clue.
Anyway, this
I don't pay attention to those sites.
it's the Lakers Collective basically who was doing the show, and that's a really good podcast, and it's interesting because then you look at Looney, Trevor Lane, right, and then the other guy was Jason. The third guy on the collective. But anyway, Moody, I think, is interesting because I think Moody was designed always to be the third center, never be the second center. I think Mamu's going to end up being the second center. But one thing I like about Moody is that he can replicate the same type of handoff and screening, high post screening actions and offensive rebounding that really make Kessler unique. And so he's a great fit to play a couple of minutes here and there, especially if we've got three guys, maybe, or at least two guys in Williams and Mamu, who both they play good portion of the time in five. So they can switch around. And you've got two guys there, both who shoot threes and both who are lob dunk threats. So I just gave A's to everybody and a B to Looney.
Sexton.
So Sexton. I give Sexton a B. He's not a defender, but he's a great change of pace for us because he's going to attack the rim and he's fast. He's going to, I can see him. The thing about this team is we got a lot younger. We got a lot more volume and 3-point shooting. We got a lot more rim guys who can throw the ball down and dunk because they're more athletic. A lot of it is possibly younger. And we got guys who I think on the whole, there's a lot better chance of better defenders. We still have a few guys that we brought in for offense mainly, but the balance, I think, between the balance and depth by position, if we could really find one more player, and the guy I like best is Carlo Matvokic. He's the Pelicans' third string center, but he shoots. In 20 minutes he averages 1 block, 1 steal, and shoots 40% from three.
So overall grade for the summer, Tom?
So my overall grade for the summer is an A-.
I think that's fair. All right,
Okay,
so
Can I bring up one more free agent signing, Jamie? There was one more because it was a two-way, but it was a signing. Kaluma. I loved that guy in summer.
He's the best guy in the summer league, really.
He was
yeah.
that guy.
I like all three of our two ways now.
We'll get to the young guys in a second. Somebody asked about the young guys. We're just talking about the summer.
Yeah, but we're talking about free agent signings, Jamie.
We're just talking about free agent signing. So at King Cora, we will talk about Carr and Adu. They're actually going to be a bigger part of the rotation than some of the guys we just mentioned, in my opinion. But just give us a second. We can only talk about so many things at once, or you don't understand. New people, it devolves into chaos. It devolves. You have no idea. Anyway, and Joe, it's nice to see you in the chat. I also say F-Reddit and FX, and really all anything just that has more social media than human interaction at this point. All right, so anyway, real quick, at Lakers Fast Break, hey, Joe's here now, shaking his head. Oh, everybody's got opinions. Look at that. All right, fantastic. My summer grade overall would be a solid B. I didn't love I feel like we overpaid Grimes. I feel like we overpaid for Kessler. I won't say that we overpaid for Kessler if he plays 70-plus games and plays exactly as well on defense, where he was where he was knocking on the door for all NBA defense in his rookie and second season. After that, his health fell off a cliff. I think Utah put him in bubble wrap often. They weren't winning, so they didn't need to play him. They wanted to tank. They didn't need to play him. I'm hoping that factors into a lot of the games he missed. Last year, shoulder surgery, that's a major thing. And so we'll see. We paid a lot. 2 picks. Who has not made an all-NBA team.
That's all we did. We gave him 2 picks.
And a lot of money. But, yeah, that's
we got him cheap, $30 million, man. If we'd gone the free agency, if we'd gone the RFA route, we might have been paying him $40 million.
This is my calculus, Tom. Who impacted winning more, Jalen Duren or Walker Kessler?
In the playoffs? I don't
know.
Duren is pretty suspect at this point in time. I mean, not even his own team is really.
No, that's the market. That's the market. I think it would be very different if he was an unrestricted free agent. He's a restricted free agent.
There's no doubt that applies to it. And I'm not even so sure that the Lakers might have been more interested in him. Because he's more of a dunker and a high flyer than Kessler is. I happen to think that the way that you beat Wembanyama and the teams like that is with big bodies.
We'll see.
What I think I think the Lakers thought that they had a better chance at Kessler than Duren.
Yeah.
I really do.
Right.
JJ will be rough artist. JJ will be gone before Rob. Unfortunately, that's probably true.
I don't think so.
Not this time.
I don't think so either.
Rob's ass is on the line. His ass is on the line.
Rob's ass is on the line this year. Rob's ass is right there in that fire. And if we are not a top 4 team and we don't go to the Western Conference Finals, I won't be surprised.
Have we ever given a better grade for any other offseason team, that Rob's put together?
I don't remember. I liked last season's team pretty good because we basically ran it back. We didn't mind the Ayton pickup. We didn't mind.
Yeah, but we didn't get the center thing. It's Ayton, man. I couldn't. That really.
Well, that was what we had to work with at the time, and we didn't want to send out 4 draft picks last year.
He was a bargain for what we paid him.
Yeah.
I would have, if I'm being honest.
He outperformed his contract.
If I'm being honest, I would have rather we had paid 4 draft picks last year for Kessler, so that we could have allowed the market to dictate his value on our terms this year. That to me is smarter. Instead, we also paid and sent out draft picks. And so there's nobody that's going to change my mind.
2 years ago, we could have had him for it first.
We overpaid for him. And you know what? It might work out. I'm not saying it won't work out, but in the moment.
I have a theory. My theory is that you can't overpay for the right player.
That's fine. And that's a philosophical difference that we're going to experience more often than not. And I'm all right with that. I can live with that.
I think that applies to everything from hiring employees in a local store to hiring general managers.
What's up, Kurt Farage? Nice to see you, man.
You know the thing to remember about last year's team? We were the 4th best team in the league.
Yep.
We were the 4th best team in the league. And
We weren't in the top tier, and that's the problem.
well,
the two team,
you know, I
team
mean,
tier.
are we now?
No, but we're probably just one really top starter away. And that you couldn't have said that last year, even close, because we solved the depth problem, we solved the youth problem, we solved the 3-point shooting problem.
All right, so my first grade
solved the wing defense or the point of attack defense problem, but hopefully Thibault and Grimes will prove to be
I think
two-way players.
I think.
Hold on, let me give my grades and then we'll move on. So Walker Kessler, I gave a B plus 2. I like Walker Kessler. I think the fit is there. We certainly needed to upgrade our defense. He checks all those boxes. His offense is a little more questionable. My hope is that with guys like Reeves, Luka, clearly Sexton, we'll have enough playmakers around him to elevate his game. He's not going to have to score by himself. He's going to have scoring opportunities set up for him. That's great. I'm fine with that. Defense, he's got to play a lot of games and he's got to be a good defender. And if he doesn't check that box, then it doesn't look good. That's his hill to climb, right? That's his hill to climb. You got to be an All NBA defender. You got to be in the conversation for All NBA. Not first team, second team's fine, but you got to be one of the best defensive centers in the game. You got to be one of the top 5 defensive centers in the game.
I think he will be.
This deal will not age well.
If he's healthy,
I think he will be. You know, he was in the last year before the injury, putting aside last year's games for Kessler, the previous 2 years, he led the league in offensive rebounding.
Listen.
And he led the league in the percentage of putbacks.
Kurt, don't tell Tom that Kessler needs to develop a 3-point shot. That's his dream. That's the only thing he dreams about. Is
JJ has already said that he's encouraged him to continue to shoot threes.
It's going to end up like Van. Anyway, that's fine. If he makes them, great. I'm not counting on that. The Colin Sexton deal, I hear everybody's points. I agree with everybody's points. I still give it a B. I think it was an overpay. It was the first deal we made other than Walker Kessler on the second day of free agency, I want to say, when there was a lot on the table. We gave him a player option at the last year, which I don't like. All the guys we signed for more than the minimum we gave player options to, which I'm not a fan of at this point, because it means you are connected to them longer than you maybe want to be.
Right, but that could have been why they signed with us versus somebody else. You always have to. We just don't know what the negotiation situation was.
If guys like no. I think that's reading the market wrong. I think everybody still thinks free agency functions.
That's a big decision at every single contract. Is what do you get Are you a good enough player that you get that player option? And certain guys will not. A lot of the guys will not take any contract where they do not have an option the last year.
Yeah, but some of those guys doesn't have
some of those shouldn't be given those options. I agree.
Yeah, that's the game they're playing, right? So that's what I'm saying. I don't think the Lakers are using the market to their advantage. I think the Lakers are functioning.
The Lakers went for the right players this year instead of the right deal. And that's the biggest change that happened because of Mark Walter owning the team and Rob Pelinka knowing that his neck was on the line.
I don't know. I mean, I would have to stop and look at like the free agents that were available. I'm not sure that Sexton was that high on my list. Was he high on anybody else's list? Let me put it that way.
I like the signing.
I like the signing.
Yeah, I liked it. I mean,
I'm giving it a B.
We did not have that.
You got to have diversity. You got to have a diverse attack and a diverse. We don't have. We needed speed. Teams were running us off the court.
We're talking about two completely different things here. I'm telling you that Rob Pelinka doesn't use the market, and you're telling me he's a great attack player. I'm like, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not disagreeing with that. That's not what I'm talking about in any way, shape, or form.
Well, your disagreement always is. Your disagreement always is that we overpaid.
He's overpaid.
If he were the general manager, we probably would make no deals.
You know, they used the room exception for him. $9 million.
You have preferred keeping Rui or getting Colin Sexton?
We wouldn't have gotten Rui for $9 million.
Yeah.
No, but you could have used that $9 million.
No,
be the backup point guard.
It was the room exception.
No, you could use that $9 million on either Mamu or Grimes.
I don't know.
Mamu wasn't going to sign for $9 million. Grimes wasn't going to sign for 9
No,
years.
not Grimes, but maybe I don't know. I think they took
I'd have
a
to go back and
huge
look
roll
at
of the
that.
dice.
My point is this: is that the player option for the Lakers never. The Lakers don't play hardball, right? They just don't. They don't know how.
Rob has walked away from so many deals that I think would be complete opposite. I think he does not want to ever make a deal, and his biggest worry is losing the deal.
That might be fair. I wouldn't agree with that. I wouldn't disagree. I'm sorry.
Listen, Jamie, we went through 3 years.
I'm
not doing anything.
I would not disagree with what you said. I agree with what
every major trade deadline or off season, it was always kick the can to next year.
Well, that's a lot of the problems this year too. But that's given. I think.
But they didn't kick the can this year.
Team in one summer.
They got the right guy in the center. They think I went down the list. Michael, almost everything you listed for your players, with a couple exceptions, they did a great job getting the right players this year. And if you had to overpay to get the right players, that's what you have to do.
Maybe we'll see. I'm not sold on Sexton. I'm not sold on. I like Grimes more than
Sexton. So you gave a B to Sexton.
I gave the B. I gave a B plus to Sexton. I gave a B to Kessler. I'm giving an A to Grimes. I thought that was a great pickup. I'm giving an A to Thibault. I thought that was a great pickup. I'm giving an A to Williams. I thought that was a fantastic pickup, especially for the money. And I'm with you, Tom. I'm higher on Looney than I think most people are. At first, I was like, Looney.
You can't look at him as a second center. He's not the second center.
No. I'm looking at it as a breaking case of glass. And if that's the case, you're getting a pro, right? Yeah. You're getting a professional, a guy who can show all these young guys who are coming in. Do you want to stay in the league, or do you want to have fun?
He's the 10th or 15th player because he's not as good as the first 10, not because he's worthless.
No, he's not worthless.
There's a big difference in that because we had a lot of guys last year who were worthless.
No, he's an underrated offensive rebounder. Looney is. He's an
underrated. He's a great offensive rebounder. That's his
underrated screen center.
He has a little bit of problem putting it back in when he gets the rebound.
Well, look, just kick it back out to Luka.
Yeah, get the rebound and throw it out to Luka.
That's right. Get rid of the ball. Don't score the ball. Get rid of the ball. You're going to have a hopefully clear direction from JJ Redick, which I think
that's definitely what JJ should tell him. Every time you get that rock, get it out to the guys who know how to shoot.
I look forward to seeing the Reeves-Looney pick and roll game. I think that's a great combination right there. Reeves is going to get some great screens set for him from Looney and some mid-game action. That'll help free him up for some easy buckets, and that's the kind of thing Reeves needs to make his offense work. I give that signing an A because it's a vet minimum. It's a quality locker room guy who's been all the way, and I do think he
sets great screens too, man.
He's got juice left in the tank. He's got competitive juice. Nothing was happening on New Orleans. And that place is a dumpster fire. That's being kind.
They won't even trade guys. They don't even trade guys.
They won zero. They won 26 games and made zero.
And they stuck with the team. They ran it back.
Who does that? Well, I'm sorry. No. They made a move. They swapped coaches. So they'll win 28 games this year and fire this coach next, and then be like, there's a coach out there somewhere that can take this group all the way. I don't know. That team isn't beyond a dumpster fire. I don't know what they're thinking or what their plan is, but it doesn't look great. The only bummer is that we weren't able to get a player out of that dumpster fire this summer. But I would have loved to see us get Herb Jones and Trey Murphy III. But we would have.
Would be this.
Well, that would have been in lieu of Walker Kessler.
Yeah, he was the most important guy.
He was the most important guy. You needed Kessler more than you needed Trey Murphy. Yeah. Or Herb Jones.
Kessler basically made the offseason a winner right from the start.
I think it was a win in general. Everybody's talking about how are we going to replace LeBron James. No one player is going to replace LeBron James. I think I forgot somebody. I don't remember. Oh, Thibault. I give Thibault an A as well. Thibault, I like that. And we all forgot Hardy.
Hardy gets an A because we got 2 picks for him, and he shoots 30% for 3. How can you not give the guy an A, man?
That's right, Tom. We get that hard. We got picks for him. So,
we're sitting around with 1 second-round pick and 1 swap before that.
And he can do what Connect was supposed to do. He can get
shoot a 3 and make it.
I give Mamu a C+. I'm not high on Mamu at all. I hope
There's
to be
a lot of
wrong.
A's in there for a C plus, man.
I forgot Mamu. Yeah, no, I know King Cora. I give him a C plus B minus. I'm not high on Mamu. I prefer Rui. I know other people feel differently, and that's fine. I think they're wrong, and that's where that's where I'm going to leave it right there. I mean, you can say all you want about the volume 3-point shooting. That's not the role he's going to have on the Lakers. He's not going to play 28 minutes a game.
The Lakers are going to shoot 43s a game. Watch.
He's not going to. We might, but it won't be because of him. It'll be because of Luka and Reeves, and that's how it's going to go. And,
You know, I did an analysis where I took all of the Laker players, the first 12 Laker players, and I compared. This is this year's team, and I compared that with. I took all of their made threes together. It's not an exact science, but do you know that combined those 12 players, if they showed as well as they did last year, and they had as many attempts as they did last year, they would lead the league in 3-point shooting volume, and they would be five in number in the percentages. They made a dramatic change. Almost one for one, every single player who was replaced by a player who took more threes, higher volume.
That's true, but Tom, with all the, Rui was the fourth option on that team last year, and when there was injuries in the playoffs, he shot almost just shy of 7 a game and hit 57%. He is the all-time leader.
I would have loved to keep Rui for $14 million a year under the MLE. If he was willing to do that, I would have kept him.
He signed for 4.
I would have kept him for that. I would have kept Marcus Smart and Rui as 2 players that I would have taken from last year's team.
Anyway, I think that Rui is a far better defender than Mamu. I think that Rui is a far better mid-range scorer than Mamu is. I think that's the thing that we forget about.
Yeah, we're not going to shoot.
He led the NBA in mid-range shooting.
No, he's just a better shooter, in my opinion. He's a better scorer and a better shooter. And that's listen.
This team is going to be an analytics-driven team. They're going to shoot threes like you've never seen a Laker team shoot.
Hey guys, I have to get moving pretty soon. Can we get to the young guys?
Yes. It's 1 o'clock. Let's 12 o'clock rather, and I got to be somewhere at 1. So let's move on to the draft picks.
Okay.
My overall grade for the Laker offseason is a B. It's a solid B. There's a lot for me personally. Everybody's more than entitled to their opinion. That's why we do the show. For me, there's a lot of chemistry to replace. There's a lot of defense that went away, and there's a lot of question marks about the health and availability about the guys who brought in. And for that, the Lakers get dinged. And we tended to overpay on all the deals that weren't minimum deals. I will give Rob bonus points for getting rid of what I thought was an impossible contract to get rid of in DeAndre Ayton, and we got assets back. That deal gets an A+. That's maybe that move is almost on par with the acquisition, not the deal for, but the acquisition of Kessler. Listen, man. I'm just telling it how I see it. Nobody has to agree. I don't care. But I thought getting out of Ayton's contract and getting anything back and not paying to get rid of Ayton was, I thought, fantastic. I thought that was absolutely.
It was a great trade.
It was a great trade. It might have been his best trade other than Luka. I'm not lying. It might have been his best trade other than Luka. I'm having a hard time thinking of a better one, if I'm being honest. It just was. I mean, because who would have expected to get anything for Ayton? I certainly did.
And they got Hardy too. And then Hardy's a knockdown 3-point shooter. That's all he does, but you can always use those guys.
I don't know that he played much, and we should have kept Luke Kennard. Yeah, I mean, Luke Kennard did the right thing. His agent was smarter than Kuminga's. He got money as soon as he could and said, "I'm not waiting." I know how this works for guys. This is a game of musical chairs. There's going to be 3 or 4 players left standing at the end of summer looking for a chair that doesn't exist. And that's what we're seeing right now with Kuminga and some of the Duran and a couple other guys. And that's just how the NBA works right now. And that's what I mean when I say that the Lakers don't play this game very well yet. Rob doesn't understand this game very well yet. He does not play hardball with the second apron and agents. He acquiesces. That's my opinion. I would agree we should have kept Kennard. I would have loved to have kept Kennard. He would have fit great on this team. We sent out 2 draft picks for Luke Kennard, and he walked for nothing, which is, that's the other thing Rob loves to do is trade guys mid-season for a couple draft picks and then be like, No way. I won't even get anything for you.
Well, one thing I think is going to change going forward is what you just exactly said, because the way to use draft picks is to get players who you couldn't have gotten with that draft pick. In other words, the player has to have value. That means you're basically only trading for young players. I wouldn't trade picks for older players.
Kennard's an old player.
The Lakers aren't going to trade for anybody over 30 years old.
No, that's a rough point, man.
They have seen this is a younger league.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's not how the Lakers have done business for the last all of Rob Pelinka.
That's the things are being changed in how the Lakers are going to do business, which affects
We'll see. It hasn't changed yet.
how Pelinka is operating. You know, he's got a lot more people looking over his shoulder. A lot more.
Seriously, let's talk about the young guys because I have to go.
Let's move on to Rob Pelinka. We're running out of time. I got to move on with my day. All right. So I thought.
Go ahead, Michael. What do you think of the three young guys?
No, I'm going to start. You guys got to start the other two. I'm starting this one. I love Cameron Carr this summer. I thought Cameron Carr played great. I thought he was a great pickup. Let's put this out there. It's summer league. It is not by any means a measurement by which you can assess NBA talent, as we saw with many NBA players who have dominated summer league and then gone on to play poorly in the NBA, and players who did poorly in summer league and gone on to play great in the NBA. So it's not any kind of real barometer. Having said that, I liked the way he played in summer league as much as the numbers he put up. I thought the way that he played, the way that he diversified his attack, the way that he got other players involved, the way that he seemed fairly patient on offense at times, and let the play develop and let the game come to him, I thought was all fantastic. I loved seeing Thiero. I thought Thiero played great for his first real action that I've seen him in since we drafted him, where he got consistent minutes and it didn't seem like he was working his way back into injury like he did all of G League last year when he played G League. Like most of the G League, I was like, this looks like a guy who's like working his way back into shape. He's not attacking the way I think he wants to attack. In Summer League, I thought he played and attacked a lot more than the way we want to see him attack. His defense in Summer League was great. And then, like you said, Kaluma was out of nowhere, a throw-in piece in the trade for Ayton. And
No, Kaluma was on the G League last year.
our G League?
Yeah.
Our G League team.
Oh, how did I miss that guy last year? Did he not play well?
No, he played really
He
well.
played well. He was good. He just, some
These
guys
G League guys can play great, and then when they get into real league games,
Yeah. Let's think. This is the thing with Summer League. You're playing against amateurs and rec league, top tier rec
Summer
league
League
guys.
and G League don't always translate.
Anyway, I give the draft pick a solid A. I give the rehab for Thiero a solid A, and I endorse giving Kaluma a shot over I forget who we sent down.
Peter or something, Suter.
Not Mannon. Mannon stuck, right? The other guy.
Suter.
That's right. Thank you. It won't matter. They'll be able to play. Tom, your thoughts?
I give an A to Carr too. What really impresses me is that his leaping ability is unreal. The guy. I mean, I love the idea that we don't limit our dunkers and lob threats to just the other bigs. I love guys coming in from the corners who can dunk the ball down, and in fast breaks, he's going to be terrific. So I give him an A. I really like Kaluma a lot, and I think that he's a candidate possibly for getting the contract down the road if he can make that transition to the real league, if he gets an opportunity. What I do love is that some of those 12th to 15th roster spots are taken up by guys like Kaluma rather than guys like Vanderbilt. I also love the series that we had in Summer League, the two series we had, and the play of Chris Mannion. It's interesting, in that same depth chart that Iztok did, he has Mannion in the third string point guard. And I think I agree with that. So I gave Mannion an A, and his shooting looked really acceptable in the playoff or in the summer leagues. And that's been the big thing keeping him, because his defense is terrific. And he's a guy who I could see actually working his way into the rotation if we have defensive problems with some of the new guys. Who else are we talking about? Adu. Love his athleticism, and I think you've got to give him minutes. Probably more minutes than he deserves at this point in time because his decision making is still pretty questionable and his handle is terrible. Let's see, who do we have left?
That's it.
That's about it.
Is that it? Okay. What's the other guy? I don't know. There's a third guy on.
Yeah, I can't remember his name, but there's a reason why I can't. He didn't really show much.
No, he did. He was one of. Yeah. No, those are the three that start. I thought.
Yeah.
Right.
Michael.
Well, Cameron Carr, A for sure. And the thing about him that neither one of you have mentioned, he is a motion shooter.
Yeah. That's a good
We
point.
don't have many motion shooters on our team.
And catching shooters are what we got.
Yeah. So they're going to be able to run a lot.
He's a deep shooter. He's a deep shooter too.
Yeah, they're going to be able to run a lot of actions with him. Because he is a motion shooter. He needs to put on some weight, and he's actually acknowledged that. He needs to get stronger.
I don't know if he's one of those guys who can do that though. Man.
Jackson Hayes put on 15 pounds over a summer. If this guy can put on 10, that would be a big help because not so on the defensive end when he's banging bodies and when he's going to the rim and getting hit by NBA full-grown men. That's where he has to improve. But yeah, I was very high on him. Thero, I don't think he has a bad handle. He makes bad decisions with the ball. He attacks when he shouldn't attack. Yeah, he attacks into triple coverage, and maybe he was so strong in college he could get away with that. Yeah. He's not going to be able to get away with that here. So he has to pick his spots, and he has to add at least a 34 to 35% 3-point shot. He needs to be good enough to where you can't just forget about him. You can't. He can't
be good enough to get a spot in the rotation. He's got to get a spot in the rotation.
Yeah, he can't be Vando. He can't be Vando. He can't be Vando. But he might have the highest ceiling of all the young guys. His athleticism.
But it's going to take longer, I think, for him to do it.
Yeah, he might take longer, but the guys.
But he's got a. Yeah, I agree with that.
And he could play the 4 because he's strong enough to play the 4. So so those two guys. I'm with you on Mannion, Tom. He was really reminding me of Alex Caruso.
The way the team won when Mannion played. Mannion was the reason the team won.
Yeah, he looked a lot like what. And don't forget, Alex spent 3 years in the G League before he was. Yeah, to the point where he could contribute. So I have high hopes for Mannion. And Kaluma, I was just on fire the entire summer league. And he's another big body. They got 50 games. I think they should use him bring him up in those 50 games. One point that I'm going to leave you guys is JJ has, at least for the first half of the year, he has to scrap that 9-man rotation.
We got to go to 12-man rotation.
Yeah, he has to play more guys because we don't know what we got yet. So he has to play more. And if we lose a few games early, oh well, it's all about what you're playing at the end of the year. Yeah. So he needs to stretch that rotation out, see what he has, give these young guys a shot, play everybody. If
I'm being honest, I would rest Flagel for the first month of the season. I would say, no, I'm not joking.
You got to be careful with all the guys who are really injury prone because
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
But the thing is that you start with 15 guys this year versus a lot of the years where we started with only 8, 9 guys that you put on the court. We got 12, 13 guys that I think should get minutes on the court.
Avila was on the summer league team, right? I don't remember him playing very well.
Who?
Avila? I don't know who that is.
Oh, that was that big center. He only got a few minutes. He might go back to college.
He's probably going to go back.
Yeah, the guy with glasses, right?
Guy. I love his game. I love his game, but he's so unathletic and he looks like a total dork.
Anyway, guys, I have to say aloha. I've got a 2-hour drive ahead of me.
Go, man.
Okay.
All right. This is a good place to stop.
Thanks, Michael.
Anyway, we'll
Okay.
pick back up.
Aloha to everybody.
I'd like to thank Michael. I'd like to thank Laker Tom. I'd like to thank the greatest Chad, Gerald, Joe, the whole Laker Fast Break team. Everybody have a wonderful Saturday morning.
Yep.
Aloha.
Go Lakers.
Go Lakers.